The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Wednesday, June the 7th, currently 5:03 on the East Coast. Here to handicap the 10-game schedule on Thursday in MLB. And joining me to help me break it down, you guys know him as the voice of the NFL Gambling Podcast. And, of course, you're on MLB. It's Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how are your lungs doing, my man?
They're doing all right. Actually, I was working in Manhattan today, and you step outside in the morning, it was fine. It was all clear, and then it just turned orange out of nowhere. And you stand outside for too long, and your throat really starts to hurt. So yeah, they're advising everyone to stay inside right now. So yeah, close the windows and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Hopefully it clears up. I know me and you were talking offline about it, and hopefully it clears up sooner rather than later. I know a couple of games did get postponed, rightfully so. I know the Lynx and Liberty WNBA got postponed, as well as the Yankees. I think the Phillies got postponed as well. So safety first, but hopefully it clears up and everybody's able to stay healthy out there in the Northeast area. But Dylan, we got 10 games on the docket for Thursday. I'm guessing some of the ones that did get postponed today will probably be turned into a doubleheader tomorrow on Thursday, but we'll wait for some official news on that. But for right now, we do know that the Yankees and the Phillies game, as of for Wednesday, did get postponed. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. But nonetheless, 10 games on the schedule. Why don't we just dive right into it here, D-Rock? First game on the board, we have a 12:35 Eastern start between the LA Dodgers and the Cincinnati Reds. Clayton Kershaw gets a start here for the LA Dodgers, and the Cincinnati Reds are sitting Graham Ashcraft out there. I was about to say the Lakers. The Dodgers are a minus 200 road favorite here, plus 170 on the money line for the Reds. Total is set at 10. Run line minus 1.5, minus 125 for the Dodgers, and plus 105, plus 1.5, plus 105 for the Cincinnati Reds here. D-Rock, take us away.
Yeah, no play on this side. I can't lay almost $3 with the Dodgers, even though Kershaw is on the mound. We saw them blow the lead last night. Dodgers quietly. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, while the Reds 6-4 in their last 10. I think you got to look towards a hitting prop with the rookie, Elly De La Cruz. I mean, the guy hit a rocket to the fence. Reds in general, they do hit lefties pretty well, 279 on the year. I mean, plus 235 I saw earlier. I think it's worth a sprinkle at plus 190. I see plus 200s are out there still. I think it's still worth a sprinkle. I don't even want to touch the total. I lean under 10, but I leaned under yesterday and they scored a bajillion runs. So it's just Graham Ashcraft and the Reds. They're always in shootouts when he's pitching. So I lean with the Reds with this outrageous price. I think you got to sprinkle a little on them. I'll also be looking towards a hit prop for De La Cruz, whether it's to record a hit, a double, a total base, or even a hit run and RBI prop. I'll look towards him. But that's kind of how I would play this game, either a hit prop or take a flyer with the Reds. I can't lay that much with the Dodgers.
Yeah, for me, I'm fading Graham Ashcraft. I would probably just look at team totals here for the Dodgers. Ashcraft, I mean, he's in Alek Manoah territory here, Dylan. Maybe even worse. He's allowed over the last 3 games, he's 1-2 with a 12.86 ERA. He's allowed 20 earned runs in 14 innings pitched over his last 3 games. 10 of those did come in the last start, which was against the Milwaukee Brewers. He lasted only 4 innings in that game. And like you mentioned, that they are in shootouts anytime Graham Ashcraft is on the mound. I'll quickly just read off the total number of runs over his last 6 games here. So against the White Sox, 21 runs. Against the Marlins, 11 runs combined. Against the Rockies, 17. That was in Coors Field. At home against St. Louis, 13 runs. On the road against Chicago, 13 runs. And then his last start against the Brewers at home, 18 runs. So I'm definitely going to look at an over for the Dodgers team total here. Clayton Kershaw, I know he got off to a great start to the season. And he's been all right. I mean, on the road thus far this season, he is 3-3 with a 4.70 ERA. He's really been better at Dodger Stadium. And one last note for Graham Ashcraft: during the day, 3-3 with an 8.05 ERA, 31 earned runs allowed, and 34 and 2/3 innings pitched. So Dodgers team total for me. If you put a gun to my head, I would probably take the run line for the Dodgers as well. But my more favorite play is going to be the Dodgers team total to go over, whether that's first 5 innings or full game. That'll probably come around. My guess is going to be 3.5 for the first 5, and then full game probably 5.5. I would not be surprised if I saw 6 and 6.5s out there as well, just because I think we're going to see. I mentioned this on the first, was it Monday's spot. I think that we'll just see runs all throughout the series between these two teams.
Yeah, so right now the Dodgers team total on PointsBet at 6.5, but at Caesars it's at 5.5 at -120.
Yeah, that's a really good bet at the 5.5 at -120. So if you have it available, if you're watching live on Caesars, I would definitely get down on that 5.5 right now. All right, Dylan, next game on the board. Let's go to a 105 Eastern start. We got the Arizona Diamondbacks in the nation's capital to take on the Nationals. Merrill Kelly gets a start here for the D-backs, and Josiah Gray gets a start for the Nationals. -140 on the money line for the Arizona Diamondbacks, +120 on the money line for the Washington Nationals. Total set at 9 with a little bit of vig towards the over at -115. Run line -1.5, +110 for the Diamondbacks, and +1.5, -130 for the Nationals. What do you got for this game, D-Rock?
Yeah, give me the home puppy in this one. 2 days in a row, I'm back in the Nationals. Who would have thought? But yeah, I was able to grab a +150 earlier in the day, and I jumped on that. It's at +126 right now. I don't know if there's that much value on it now. I did make the D-backs a -140 favorite, so it's right at the number. I know the Snakes have won every start on the road this year for Kelly, but I feel like I've turned into Mal. I feel like we've done too many pods with him. I feel like I have a soft spot for JoJo Gray now. He hasn't pitched all that well at home this season, but I'm hoping he can turn it around and have a similar start to the last time he faced the D-backs. The Nationals lost that game, but he did have a solid start. They just couldn't get to Kelly. So maybe an under 9 seems a little bit high. I made my total 8.5. The last time these two teams faced, it was 3-1 with these two pitchers going. So hopefully we see a similar type game. But with the way the Nationals have been playing, I feel like I could take a flyer on them at home. I also lean under as well.
Yeah, my favorite play was actually the under in this game, and Josiah Gray has really turned it around thus far this season. At home, he is 2-2 with a 4.10 ERA. And last start, he did allow 4 earned runs to the Philadelphia Phillies. But prior to that, he hadn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any of the starts prior to this last start against the Phillies. So 9 out of his last 10 starts all had 3 earned runs or less for Josiah Gray. And you love seeing that for a team that has kind of struggled pitching wise over the past several seasons. Merrill Kelly has been solid as well. 4 straight wins for the Diamondbacks in his starts, and mostly have been lower scoring, 3-2, 4-2, 8-3, and a 5-2 victory for the Diamondbacks. So I love the under 9 in this game between the Nationals and the Diamondbacks with Kelly and Josiah Gray on the mound. All right, D-Rock, before we continue here, let me tell everyone about an extra out that you can get, and that's going to be with Edge Boost. This episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely a valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down on some of your favorite futures without having to tie it up for your bankroll for months. I know a lot of people don't like betting on the futures because it ties up, your funds. That's where Edge Boost can help you out. If you're looking to get down on some MLB futures right now, or even in the NFL, I know NFL is right around the corner, even college football as well. Edge Boost is here for that. You don't have to haggle, your friends or your family for extra money to get down on some of your favorite bets, or if you have a hedging opportunity, whether that's, an NBA Finals ticket that you're holding right now, or something that you want to hedge out of. Edge Boost is here for that. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark, as they charge 0% interest. Do you know of a way you can access more money to place on your favorite bets without paying any interest? I haven't came across anybody. Edge Boost can also be a part of a responsible gaming plan, as you can set up daily, weekly, monthly limits across all of your betting accounts in one place. So since we do everything for free on SGPN, provide free picks, free content, support us, support SGPN, and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Dylan, let's keep it rolling here, my man. Next game on the board is going to be a 1:10 Eastern start. We got the Minnesota Twins. They are going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Bailey Ober gets to start here for the Minnesota Twins, and Tyler Glasnow gets to start here for the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays are a minus 155 home favorite here, plus 135 on the money line for the Minnesota Twins. Total is set at 7.5 with a little bit of big towards the under. Run line for the Rays is a minus 1.5 plus 135, and for the Twins, plus 1.5 minus 155. Start here with Bailey Ober, who's been pretty solid thus far this season for the Minnesota Twins. On the season, he is 3-2 with a 2.33 ERA. On the road, in 2 starts, he's pitched 13 innings total, only allowed 1 earned run. At home with a 2.97 ERA, and during the day a 2.82 ERA. So he's been really, really good so far for the Twins thus far this season. Meanwhile, on the mound, Tyler Glasnow, I believe this is going to be his 3rd start of the season for the Tampa Bay Rays here. Trying to pull up his numbers here exactly. I know he had 1 grid start in his last start, which came against the Boston Red Sox in Boston. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched in that matchup. Allowed 4 hits and only 1 earned run. Did walk 3 batters, but also struck out 6 batters in that game. But the Rays did get the victory 4-2 against the Red Sox. His first start came against the Dodgers at home. 4 1/3 innings pitch. He allowed 3 earned runs in that span. I'm going to trust these 2 pitchers here, Dylan. I thought this total, even at 7.5, I think this might be like a 3-2, 4-2 type of game here. I think it stays under the total here. I like the 7.5 under for me in this game here, D-Rock.
Yeah, if you look at Bailey Ober's stats on the road, like you mentioned, man, I know he's only had 2 starts, but against Cleveland and the Dodgers, he's been lights out. He's only allowed 1 run in 13 innings. So, yeah, and both of those games went under. But even if you don't look at his road splits, all of his home splits as well, he's gotten under in every start. 1-0, 3-0, 4-1, 5-1, 5-3, 8. He's literally gone under in all these starts. So I think he could hold the Rays. And you got to think, I know the Rays 44-19, but at some point you're going to start to see, we've seen it even just a little this past week. We're going to start to see some regression from the Rays. So I do like the under with you.
Yeah, agreed. All right, next game on the board, we have a 2:10 Eastern start. We got the Baltimore Orioles, and we have the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee here. I see that it will be, let me go back to the screen page here. Kyle Bradish is going to get the start here for the Baltimore Orioles, and Colin Ray gets a start here for the Milwaukee Brewers. Orioles are the favorite in this game at minus 115. Brewers minus 105 on the money line. Total set at 9. Run line minus 1.5 plus 140 for the Orioles, and plus 1.5 minus 165 here for the Brewers here. D-Rock, what do you got for this game?
Yeah, give me the Orioles. I got him at a short dog price earlier in the day, minus 105. I made him a minus 125 favorite on the road. Simply put, I just think they're the better team. I know Kyle Bradish hasn't been much better at home than on the road, but he hasn't been terrible on the road. He's only given up more than 3 runs 1 time on the season this year on the road. So he's been very backable, I think, in my opinion. I just don't trust Colin Ray. 5.26 ERA at home, 15 runs given up in 25 innings, and the long ball is a problem for him. He gives up a lot of home runs. So I don't think they should have been opened up as the favorite. The Orioles, they've kind of slacked a little bit this past week or two, but they're still a very good hitting team. The Brewers, they did take the first game of the series, but I just think the Orioles are going to bounce back here, get back in the win column. So give me the Orioles here, minus 110.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like the Orioles here as well. Kyle Bradish has been solid for the Orioles. He did have 1 bad start against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium back on May 23rd, where he allowed 4 earned runs to the New York Yankees. But other than that, he's been really solid. Did have 1 bad home start against the Red Sox, but on the road, he's been really good for the Baltimore Orioles. And like you mentioned, Colin Ray is a guy that you cannot trust right now, or even during the season. He's prone to just giving up the hits and the runs to the opposition, and home runs are an issue for him as well. But the Brewers have won 4 of his last 5 starts, but that's really been where the offense has carried the Milwaukee Brewers in those games. They've scored 10, 7, 6, and 9 in those last 4 starts when Colin Ray's on the mound. But I think Kyle Bradish would be able to combat some of the loss or some of the runs that they have scored in those last 4 games. And you kind of go prior to that, Dylan, the previous 4 starts after the 4 straight wins that the Brewers have had, I think we'll see more of that because in those 4 losses, they scored a combined 4 runs, one shutout, and then 2. So I really do like the Orioles here with you against Colin Ray and the Brewers. Next game on the board is going to be a 3:10 Eastern start. We've got the Colorado Rockies hosting the San Francisco Giants. I did see that these pitchers probably just popped up right before we started recording here, but I am seeing Alex Cobb is going to get the start here for the San Francisco Giants, and Chase Anderson gets the start here for the Colorado Rockies. Right now, the lines are sitting at minus 195 road favorites here for the San Francisco Giants, plus 165 on the money line for the Colorado Rockies. Total is set at 11.5. Run line minus 1.5, minus 130 for the Giants, and plus 1.5, plus 110 for the Colorado Rockies. Alex Cobb, I'll start here, Dylan. On the season thus far, Alex Cobb is 5-2 with a 2.71 ERA, 64 strikeouts to 18 walks. The Giants have won 4 of his last 5 starts when he has pitched. His last start came against the Baltimore Orioles, where he was absolutely phenomenal. 7 2/3 innings pitched, allowed 5 hits and shutout baseball. Prior to that, his worst start of the season was against the Brewers that we just talked about, where he did allow 7 earned runs in just 4 innings pitched. Against the Rockies on the road in his career, Alex Cobb is 2-0 with a 6.27 ERA. But 2 starts last season against the Colorado Rockies in Colorado. One game ended in favor of the Giants 10-7. And that's where he did allow 7 earned runs to the Colorado Rockies. But the offense compensated for those runs that he did allow. And then on August 20th, he had a better start against the Rockies. But that was a game where they did lose 4-3. Chase Anderson, I think everybody's kind of waiting for this guy to fall down to earth here, but he's been really, really good thus far this season for the Colorado Rockies. He has a 1.69 ERA, 12 strikeouts, 6 walks thus far this season. Hasn't recorded a decision yet, but he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his appearances thus far. He's made 4 straight starts, and he's been absolutely brilliant for the Colorado Rockies in those starts. So for me, I think I'm leaning towards the under in this game. As crazy as that sounds in Coors Field here, I think that these 2 pitchers can go well. If you put a gun to my head, I think there is some value on the Colorado Rockies here at the money line. But even on the run line, you're getting plus money at that right now over on DraftKings, plus 1.5 at plus 110. I don't hate that either. So definitely do like the under in this game between these 2 pitchers. And I would split a unit, maybe half a unit on that plus 1.5, plus 110, and then plus 165 for the Colorado Rockies here. Dylan, anything on this game?
Yeah, even I see some 12s out there on FanDuel. So under 12 is at plus money at even money. I like that. You got wind blowing in as well. And yeah, Alex Cobb, 5-2 with a 2.71 ERA, but on the road, he's a much different pitcher. If you look, like you mentioned, he got blown up his worst start against the Brewers. The Twins, he gave up 3 runs. So he's prone to give up some runs on the road. And the Rockies, they hit 268 off of righties. I think they could get some runs off of Cobb. I think the Rockies are live here. I didn't run the numbers because, like you said, I didn't know Chase Anderson was going. But yeah, Chase Anderson, he's been very serviceable. Everyone's waiting for him to fall off, but he just continues to go out and give you 5 to 6 constant innings since coming over from Tampa Bay. So if you don't want to take him plus 165, I agree. Still getting plus money on the run line is a good bet as well. So I'll be on the Rockies, and I also like the under as well. I think 12 is a little too high.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Before we continue the conversation here, let me tell everyone about Underdog Fantasy. Hey, we love Underdog Fantasy over at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Andrew Robb does a fantastic job with the Best Ball Mania drafts, and the guys typically, Sean and Ryan, do a best ball draft every week leading up to the football season. But Best Ball Mania 4, it's here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes. That's right, $15 million in prizes. And if you're not a fantasy football guy or a best ball draft type of guy, hey, they got other stuff where you can bet on player props. You can even parlay those props with the NBA finals going on right now, the Stanley Cup, and of course MLB going on. They have great ways to maximize your bets on those player prop parlays. So head over to underdogfantasy.com. Do us a favor, use that promo code SGPN. They'll give you a nice bonus for a 100% deposit bonus of up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com using promo code SGPN. All right, D-Rock, let's get over to the nightcap for the Thursday games. I am currently seeing the Yankees game off the board. And again, that probably has to do with the air quality right now in the eastern hemisphere of the or eastern side of the country right now. But the Chicago White Sox, they're going to put Mike Clevenger out there, and I'm seeing Luis Severino is going to get the start for the New York Yankees. Let me refresh the page here and see if they did post lines for this. So I'm probably thinking that it is probably going to be postponed or part of a doubleheader for tomorrow, but I don't see lines on the screen that I'm looking at. Do you see lines for this game here, Dylan?
Yeah, minus 155 for the Yankees, plus 135 for the White Sox. Over unders at 8.5, minus 105, minus 1.5 for the Yankees, plus 130, plus 1.5 is at minus 150 for the White Sox.
All right, so I'll start here with the Mike Clevenger and the White Sox. Clevenger on the season, 3-3 with a 4.13 ERA, 2-2 on the road with a 5.60 ERA. He's been a lot better in the Windy City, where he does have a record of 1-1 with a 2.52 ERA. But like I mentioned, he's gotten into trouble on the road. His last road victory for the White Sox came all the way back on April 8th. But since then, they've lost to Toronto 7-0. They lost to Cincinnati 5-3. They lost to the Royals 4-3. But they have won his last two back-to-back starts in Chicago. But again, a pitcher that does get into trouble on the road, like they are going to be in Yankee Stadium. Severino gets a start here for the New York Yankees on the season, 0-1 with a 5.28 ERA. This is going to be his fourth start of the season. His last start, he got blown up by the LA Dodgers. 4 innings pitched. He allowed 7 earned runs, gave up 3 home runs in that game off of 9 hits. Prior to that, he was pretty good against the Padres and the Cincinnati Reds. And now you have a White Sox team coming in here. I think that has a lot of question marks around it still. And I know Aaron Judge is going to be missing time here for the New York Yankees as well. And again, we talked about this when Scott was on that. This offense looks completely different when Judge is not in that lineup for obvious reasons. But for me, I think the under maybe the playing this game here. I really want to see over these next couple games how the Yankees offense again does without Aaron Judge. That we may just have to go back to the window to start blindly taking the under in a lot of these games for the Yankees without Aaron Judge in the lineup, because again, you take a look at the numbers without Judge in the lineup, it makes a huge difference for this team. So I'll take the under in this game here. Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go on the other side. I lean over. I got an 8 earlier in the day. Even 8.5, I kind of lean over. I set my total at 9.3. I'm just basically fading both pitchers in this spot. Mike Clevenger on the road has not been good. And Luis Severino, he got lit up in his last start. Kind of can't get that out of my head against the Dodgers. So, in this spot, I just think both pitchers are susceptible to give up a few runs. I know their offense is much different without Aaron Judge, but I think they're good for a few runs each. So maybe not full game maybe full game, just because, I really don't trust the bullpen of the White Sox. They have an awful bullpen, but yeah, I kind of lean over. I didn't really have a play on the side.
Some breaking news here in the NBA. The Phoenix Suns have notified star Chris Paul that he will be waived.
Wow.
He's going to the Lakers. Anyways, this is an MLB pod. Let's get back to let's get back to the MLB games here. So next game on the board here, Dylan, we have this is the Red Sox game where we don't have a pitcher.
Yeah.
Actually, let's go to the Astros game and then we'll get to the Red Sox game. So the Houston Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays. It's an 8:07 Eastern start between these two teams. We have Framber Valdez on the mound for the Houston Astros and Jose Berrios on the mound for the for the Toronto Blue Jays. Looking at the lines for this game, the Astros are a favorite here of minus 125. Blue Jays are a home underdog of plus 105. Total set at 8.5 with big towards the under at minus 125. Run line minus 1.5 plus 130 for the Astros and plus 1.5 minus 150 for the Toronto Blue Jays. We'll start here with Frember Valdez. Valdez, left-handed pitcher. Thus far this season for the Astros, he has a 6-4 record with a 2.16 ERA. Over his last 3 games, has been absolutely brilliant for the Houston Astros. 22 innings pitched. He's only allowed 1 earned run in that span. Allowed 13 hits, 19 strikeouts, 4 walks. Opponents on base percentage at 222. He has a whip of 0.77 over those last 3 starts. And on the road, he's undefeated this season. 4-0 with a 2.25 ERA. Allowed 7 earned runs in 28 innings pitched, a whip of 0.93 in that span. So, and the Astros have actually won 5 straight starts by Frember Valdez. On the other side, Jose Berrios gets a start here for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's having a pretty decent season, to say the least, and they've really needed him to be that guy after what's happened with Alek Manoah. Over his last 3 starts, he has allowed a total of 2 earned runs in 18 2/3 innings pitched, 2-0 with a 0.96 ERA. Has been really good in Toronto this season, 2-1 with a 2.22 ERA. He's only allowed 6 earned runs in 24 1/3 innings pitched at home, which leads me to 2 simple bets here. I love the under 8.5 here. This number is going to be on the move down to 8. So if you're watching live, I would probably get down on the under right now. And I'm going to go with the Houston Astros. I think that you still do have the better pitcher on the mound with Frember Valdez. And again, I'm not sure if I can trust Jose Berrios that he can blow up at any minute, especially like an offense against the Astros. I know he did have a good start against the Astros earlier this season in Houston, but the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen absolutely gave it up in that game and after 7 innings. So he went 7 innings in that game against the Astros in Houston, only allowed 2 earned runs, but the bullpen came in and allowed 6 earned runs to the Houston Astros. So I'm going to go with the better pitcher on the mound. A couple ways you can attack this game. Houston Astros money line, under 8.5, or the first 5 under in this game here, Dylan.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I like the Astros the best. I got it at -130, a little outside my numbers, but I don't mind it. I'll lay the extra 5 cents. I made him a -130 favorite, or -125, excuse me. But Frember Valdez on the road, he's been amazing. A perfect 4-0 on the road, and the Astros haven't lost a single one of his starts on the road. He's only allowed 7 runs in 28 innings. Batters only hitting a $184 off of him. I just can't fade him in this spot. I'd rather fade Jose Berrios, who last time faced the Blue Jays. I know the bullpen kind of blew it up, but they lost 8-1. I do think he's been better at home, but at any point he could get blown up. I still don't trust Jose Berrios either. So I agree on the under. I made my total 8.1, but I'd rather back the Astros here. So I think Valdez continues to roll. So agree with everything with you.
All right. So next game on the board was going to be the Boston Red Sox and the Cleveland Guardians. So we don't have a pitcher right now for the Boston Red Sox, but I am seeing that the Cleveland Guardians are going to be sending out Aaron Savali in this game. So with no lines and no pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, not much to give you guys here. Anything to add to that, Dylan?
No, I just don't have a pitcher for the Red Sox.
Yeah. All right. So then let's get to the game of the night, probably here, the pitching matchup of the night. We have your New York Mets. They are in Atlanta to take on the Braves. Justin Verlander gets to start here for the New York Mets. Spencer Strider on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. Currently seeing the Braves are a -170 home favorite here, +145 on the money line for the New York Mets. Total set at 8.5. 8.5, and the run line -1.5, +125 for the Braves. And for the New York Mets, run line +1.5, -145 here, Dylan. What are you thinking about this matchup between 2 AL East teams?
I think we got two different. I think we got 2 different numbers, because at one point I saw the run line for the Braves +215 for the Braves on the run line, and it just didn't make sense with me. So I think I was on that, but even at, what'd you see, +125 it's at right now on DraftKings?
For the Braves, yeah, -1.5, +125.
Yeah, even that, I think you got to take that. I haven't really liked what I've seen from Verlander this season. Even when he has been dealing and going well, the Mets don't give him the run support he needs to win, kind of like a Jacob deGrom situation. So I don't trust the Mets right now and their bats. They continue to trot out Daniel Vogelbach. Why? There's just no accountability on any level. The players, the coaches, the GM, the owner, no one. So they're broken. I can't put money behind the Mets right now. Spencer Strider's been on fire. The Braves have only lost 2 of his 12 starts this season. even if the Mets somehow miraculously get a lead, Buck Showalter will probably do something stupid to blow this game up. So I can't back the Mets in this spot. So give me the Braves on the run line.
Yeah, look, Strider has been really good so far this season. I think that's an understatement and an obvious statement, but um, Strider on the season, kind of going through the numbers here, he is 6-2 with a 2.97 ERA, 2-1 at home with a 3.09 ERA. I'm curious to see how he has done against the Mets in his career. I'll try to pull that up here real quickly before we get to the last game of the day.
Do you worry real quick that he
Yeah.
only pitches his only pitches are like his two main pitches? Do you eventually think someone's going to tag him and see some regression from Strider?
I mean, at some point you're gonna have to see it from Strider, right? And it's not like he's throwing shutout baseball either, right? Like he's allowed at least two. I know it's not a lot, 2 earned runs isn't really a lot when you're going 6 innings in each of your last 3 starts, but um, I think there will be a point where teams will maybe figure something out about Strider, but right now it hasn't happened. He's been a great strikeout pitcher as well. 10 his last 10 starts, he's had 4 games where he's been in double digit strikeouts, and in 3 of those games, he's finished with exactly 9 strikeouts. So whatever he's doing right now, the 2 pitch that he's using, it's been very effective for him thus far this season. But yeah, I think I got to kind of getting back to Spencer Strider against the Mets. So 3-1, but he does have a 5.03 ERA. He faced them earlier this season where he did go 5 innings, but he did give up 4 earned runs in that game to the New York Mets, and that game did go over the total. And the Braves won that game 9-8 in a come from behind victory. Last season, he faced them here 4 times. He had a 2-1 record with a 5.19 ERA. So he's prone to giving up the run to the Mets as well. I know Justin Verlander has been he's been all right so far this season. Looking at his numbers, 2-3 with a 4.25 ERA. He has struggled on the road. So would I be surprised if this total does get over the 8.5? No, I wouldn't. But I would lean here with the Braves as well. I just think their offense could probably get some runs off of Justin Verlander in this game. D-Rock, last game on the board, my man. We have the Chicago Cubbies. They are going to be in Angel Stadium to take on the Angels. It's currently seeing, let me go back to the odd screen here. Drew Smiley is getting the start here for the Chicago Cubbies, and Reed Detmers gets a start here for the LA Angels. Battle of left-handed pitching here between these two squads. Looking at the lines for this game, the Angels are a home favorite of -135, +115 on the money line for the Chicago Cubs. Total is set at 9 with a little bit of vig towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5, +145 for the Angels, and +1.5, -170 for the Chicago Cubs. Now, Drew Smiley was a pitcher that got off to a really good start for the Chicago Cubs. He hadn't allowed more than 2 earned runs up until May 23rd. Now, over his last 2 starts, he has seen some regression from Drew Smiley, where he is pitched a total of 10 1/3 innings. He's allowed a total of 14 hits in those 2 games, and then a total of 8 earned runs. And the Cubs have lost both of those games, which was against the Reds 8-5 at home, and then against the Padres in San Diego, where they were shut out, and the Padres got the 6-0 victory there. So now you're going up in the Angels offense. Again, we talk about Ohtani. We talk about Mike Trout in the offense there. Anthony Rendon did leave the game yesterday for the Angels. We'll try to let's see if I can dig up the injury report for him, but it's not like Reed Detmers has been any better for this Angels pitching staff on the season thus far. He is 0-5 with a 5.15 ERA. At home, 0-2 with a 5.33 ERA. He's allowed 15 earned runs in 25 1/3 innings pitched thus far this season. And the Angels, like I mentioned, at home have lost, let's see here, 3 of his 5 starts at home, and they have produced runs. So I'm not sure if I can trust either one of these pitchers here. I know that the Cubs, they do hit left-handed pitching very well. I would, if you put a gun to my head, I would lean with the Cubs here. But I think we do see runs in this game as well here, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be on the under 9. I set my total at 8.5. I mean, if you look at the Cubs' last 10 games, most of them have been lower scoring games. The unders 3-7 in the Cubs' last 10 games. They're not scoring a bunch of runs. The offense has kind of been on autopilot this past week. But and on the other side, I'm not really in the business to back Reed Demers either. I don't think he's good. And Cubs, you mentioned, they rake against lefties. So I agree. I think, gun to my head, if you want me to pick a side, I think the Cubs are live here. I just need a little better of a price, at least like a plus 120, plus 125. But I do think we see a lower scoring game, so I'm going to lean under here.
All right, so that's going to be the last game on the board. Yeah, just to kind of mention it again, that we're probably going to see a doubleheader in those Yankees, in the Yankees game, depending on if the air does clear up in the East region. I know a lot of you probably already know about that. And then we also didn't have lines for the Boston Red Sox and the Cleveland Guardians game. No pitcher yet for the Boston Red Sox. But like I mentioned, Aaron Savali will get the start for the Guardians, which Dylan leaves us with one order of business before we wrap up the show. That is going to be our lock in dog for the Thursday schedule. You want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'll go on over to Houston. Houston money line. That's going to be my lock. We just can't fade Framber Valdez. He's been perfect on the road this season, and I just think the Astros are a much better team, and I think eventually we will see some regression from Jose Barrios. So I'm going to back the Astros here. I just think they're a much better team right now. They're playing better baseball, and at minus 130, I really can't back that. I really can't not back that at that number. So going to back them for my lock. As for my dog, I was going to take the Nationals again, but I have a feeling Merrill Kelly's going to go crazy. So how about I fade my Mets? Let's go with the Braves on the run line, minus 1.5 at plus 125. Spencer Strider. I know he only pitches that slider and that fastball, but man, people can't hit it right now. And the Mets can't hit anything. If they put Daniel Vogelbach back in the lineup, they're going to lose. That's just a guarantee right now. So give me the Braves on the run line, minus 1.5.
I love it. All right, for my lock, do you see a first 5 innings total for the Rays in the Twins game yet?
Let me check.
While you get that, I'll give out my dog in the meantime. So for my dog, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles run line, minus 1.5 at plus 140. I think we do definitely have the better starting pitcher on the mound with Kyle Bradish. Colin Ray has been prone to giving up the hits in his home starts, at least this season. He is 2-2 at home this season against the opposition, but he gives up a lot of earned runs. So in the 6 home starts this season, he's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 3 of those 6 starts. And like I mentioned, the Brewers are 2-2 in those 4 starts as his record. But I just really do trust Kyle Bradish here. I think that the Orioles will be able to get some runs off of the Brewers here in this game. It's more of a fade of Colin Ray here. So I think they can get this victory by at least 2+ runs. I'll take the plus 140 there. Again, you get all 9 at-bats as well for the road team here in the Baltimore Orioles. So I'll take minus 1.5, plus 140 on the run line with the Baltimore Orioles as my dog. And Dylan, were you able to get a first 5 number for me?
No, for the Rays and Twins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, first 5 numbers aren't up yet.
All right, no worries. So if it's a 4, I do like the under in the first 5 innings there between those two pitchers. But for the show purposes, I'll just give out the under in that game. Tyler Glasnow and Bailey Ober, under 7.5 full game. I think you have 2 good pitchers on the mound here. Bailey Ober has been really good. And I trust Tyler Glasnow at home. I know he had a bad start in his first start against the Dodgers, but the Dodgers are a very good offense. We all know that. But the Twins, we've talked about it. They're not very The offense is not very good. I know Byron Buxton just went on the 10-day IL for them as well. So that's another bat that you do lose in that lineup that you could say there's an engine for them at the top of that lineup. But I think that Tyler Glasnow will have some success in this game. Bailey Ober should be able to contain the bats of the Tampa Bay Rays here. So at 7.5, I will take the under in this game between those two pitchers as my lock. For the Thursday games here, D-Rock, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, my man?
No, just good luck to everybody. Thanks to everybody in the chat. We had about a couple people in the chat today, familiar faces, but yeah, no, good luck to everybody. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, the usual faces, man. Appreciate you guys being in the chat. Joey, Captain Insano, Kason is in there. TVDBJ. Thank you guys. They tune in with us every single day. So again, it helps the show go by. So if you haven't tuned in to us live and you want to come and join the conversation, we go live every day around 5 p.m. Eastern time. This would be a great time for you to subscribe to the MLB Gambling Podcast YouTube channel and also follow us on Twitter as well at MLB SGPN. You can follow Dylan on Twitter at Rock with 2Ks, ROCKK24. Follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. We'll be back tomorrow. Malcolm should be back tomorrow from his holiday. He was out of the country like a rich man, like he is, taking the family to a whole new country. He said he was on an island. Well, okay, Mr.
Must
Fancy
nice.
Pants. Yeah, you could interrogate him tomorrow for me, Dylan, and let's find out how his holiday went. All right, guys, good luck with your bets here tonight. Let's break these books off and let it ride.